What if I was to tell you that a player who got 33 goals and assists combined in 38 games just 4 seasons ago was now without a club? Well, that's the reality for Nicolas Pepe right now, who currently is a free agent after stints at Arsenal and various other clubs. But things could have been so different for him if everything just clicked at Arsenal, and in today's video I'm going to be uncovering the sad story of Nicolas Pepe. Let's go back to the summer of 2019 where Arsenal completed the signing of Nicolas Pepe for 72 million, and at the time he was well worth the price. Having come off a season where he got 33 goals and assists combined in 38 games, everybody could tell that this guy was quality. There was a little bit of murmurings around that the deal was dodgy, but overall at Arsenal there was excitement that they managed to get a tricky winger who had such a fantastic and electric season just before. There was excitement at Arsenal that they were able to pick up a player who had been wanted by the likes of Bayern Munich and Napoli. But his move did come with a lot of pressure as he became Arsenal's highest and top ever signing for a fee of 72 million. So it was always going to be difficult when you hear figures like that around your name, and he actually became one of the highest earners at the club too. He had to hit the ground running, and after a slow start he did have a couple of performances which caught the eye, specifically away at Anfield and at home to Burnley. Nicolas Pepe was really showing glimpses of quality. Although you could tell he hadn't hit the heights of the season before, there was a quality player within him. But there was something strange about the deal. There was something that was outside of his control that made him fail, and it was Unai Emery. If you didn't know, Unai Emery really wanted to sign Wilfried Zaha, but Arsenal went against him and went to sign Nicolas Pepe. So from the start, Nicolas Pepe was already signing for a club which didn't even want him. Unai Emery was really frustrated at the club's hierarchy for not trusting him and signing Zaha, who would have been almost half as much as Nicolas Pepe. So from there, Nicolas Pepe already had a mountain to climb in trying to please the manager that didn't even want him in the first place. And in his first season, Nicolas Pepe got 11 goals and assists combined in 31 games for the Arsenal, which is pretty good reading, especially for a player who's just coming from a new country and is trying to get to the grips of a really tricky Premier League. But still, there was so much doubt about him. These numbers weren't enough to convince people, but if I was to tell you that Jadon Sancho and Antony weren't even able to put up such stats in their first 2 seasons, you would be shocked. But Nicolas Pepe, there was this different sort of attitude towards him, that the numbers he got was never going to be good enough, and it's kind of unfair. The environment around the club as well was really toxic, so it was so hard for him to fit in. Everything was going wrong on and off the pitch. Emery haters were in full force, and Arsenal fans were as divided as ever, and it just made it so tough for a new player coming into the club. And that's why I get it when Mikel Arteta says things have to be in place for a player to do well. He talked about William Saliba. Imagine if he had been thrown into the Arsenal team at a time where things were going wrong for us. He would have been made the scapegoat too, so it made sense to loan him out, and now we've got one of the best defenders in the whole world. So sometimes Mikel Arteta does know best. However, when it even comes to Mikel Arteta, he himself blames himself for the Nicolas Pepe situation, because if you didn't know, Nicolas Pepe actually came out with comments a few weeks back saying that nobody within the club believed in him and only the people outside the club, like the fans, were supporting him. And this is true. He would often put in some decent performances and find himself back on the bench, both with Unai Emery and Mikel Arteta. It would puzzle us. If I give you an example, towards the end of the 2021 season, Nicolas Pepe was in fantastic form. This was the lockdown season where Smith Rowe, Saka, and everybody came into the team and Arsenal started to look really good. But Nicolas Pepe really picked up form towards the end of the season, getting 5 goals in 4 games. Really good showing for a player, and it gave us all hope that next season he can possibly, hit the heights that we all wanted from the start. But again, the season following, he found himself on the bench, and there was games in which you would look at Arteta and be like, why not put Nicolas Pepe in? But the trust wasn't there. Whether it be Pepe not working hard enough off the ball, there was always a reason for Pepe not to make it. But Mikel Arteta had his reasons, and of course Nicolas Pepe had to suck up and just do what he wanted, because he knew that if he didn't perform up to what Mikel Arteta wanted, he would never ever get into the side. However, as you know, things never ever worked out, and Nicolas Pepe was of course sold, and he now finds himself without a club. But who would have known what would have happened if there was just a manager who had the utmost trust in him and just played him for 10 games straight and given him the boost he needed? Because it's very evident that Nicolas Pepe is a confidence player, and that there is quality within him that nobody was ever able to find. If I give you some context to Nicolas Pepe's goals and assists combined, compared to somebody like Jadon Sancho, in 89 games in his first 2 seasons for Arsenal, Pepe had 24 goals and 15 assists. Compare that to Jadon Sancho, who in 79 games for Manchester United had 12 goals and 6 assists in his first 2 seasons. Now swap them around. Imagine how much pressure, how much criticism would be there for Nicolas Pepe if he had the stats that Jadon Sancho had. But you again see nobody talk about Jadon Sancho, and you still hear to this day people criticizing Nicolas Pepe. Maybe there's something behind the scenes further that we didn't know about, outside of Unai Emery not trusting him. Maybe there was some disciplinary issues, because for me there was a player within him, and it's just such a shame that we never got to see it week in week out, because the wingers in football are really dying out. The special players who take on players are really limited out there. So someone like Nicolas Pepe could really give you something else in games, but he just never got that spark he had when he was at Lille. So that is it. The sad story of Nicolas Pepe. A lot of questions about him. Was it Arsenal's fault? Was it Nicolas Pepe's own fault for not working hard enough? But if you're looking at his pure goals and assists, which players are judged on a lot in this modern era, then you would see it is a good player in there. Maybe his performances aren't consistent, but that is something which you can coach and learn. But for whatever reason, it never worked out. For both Arsenal and Nicolas Pepe, maybe it's for the best, because now Arsenal are fighting for a title, but unfortunately for Nicolas Pepe, his career has just gone downwards. Anyway, that's it for now, Gunners. Let me know your thoughts on the whole Nicolas Pepe situation. Do you think Arsenal are to blame, or was it Nicolas Pepe's own fault for his performances and attitude? And until next time, peace. Football in the 2000s was perfect. Every now and again, I like to go and watch the clips from the past and compare what really changed. And I can say everything changed. Okay, maybe that's too far, but when I look at the clips from the past, everything just looked more bright, more aesthetically pleasing, and everybody just looked better. I don't know whether it's the baggy t-shirts, I don't know whether it's the widescreen settings for watching the football games. I don't know, there's just something that is a lot different about football in the past, in those 2000 eras, and football now. I don't know whether it's just the footballers were better. Okay, Darwin Núñez versus R9, okay, that's quite a difference. But I don't know, it just felt different watching the games of the past, you know, and people may complain